Welcome to the Riverside Project podcast. We are mobilizing Houston to empower families and transform generations. We hope these conversations will give you a greater understanding of the issues facing our community and inspire you to find your place along the river. Hi, everyone. Today we have Brian Meza. He has devoted his life to helping youth and young adults find their purpose and achieve their dreams. A veteran youth worker for 25 years, Brian is known for his ability to build and scale projects from the ground up. He has led numerous successful projects for national and international nonprofits such as Young Life and KSBJ in Houston. At Petra Cares, Brian sets the vision and leads the execution of a proven strategy that helps young people learn a trade in the automotive tech space and find gainful employment. When he's not working, Brian can be found in a local coffee shop, reading a good book and enjoying a great cup of coffee, or cheering on one of his favorite sports teams. Brian currently resides in Houston. Hey, Brian.
Couldn't say it, huh?
I couldn't say it. LA sports teams.
Yes, thank you.
I will give the caveat, although it's a little bit disappointing that you cheer on LA sports teams.
But Houston's
It's
my
okay.
adopted city.
I get it.
So I root for the
appreciate
Astros, and let's go Texans.
Let's go Texans is
Yeah.
right. By the time this airs, we will know how far we made it.
Yes.
And
Okay.
we'll see.
All
I'm
right.
hopeful. Let's get started. I'm so glad to have met you. I love the work that you're doing at Petra
you.
Cares, and I'm really excited about an opportunity to just help other people to know about the wonderful work that you're doing. So let's start off just by sharing a little bit about Petra Cares and the work that you do there.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you so much, Amber. It's been a joy to learn about Riverside Project and all the things that you folks are doing to help in this incredibly under-resourced world, and so hear me say thank you for doing what you do. You're an aggregator. You're bringing all of us together, and so I'm very grateful for that. Yeah, jumping into Petra Cares. I kind of had a background in youth ministry. Went to a small little college out in Southern California and studied Bible, but I always had an entrepreneurial spirit as well. And so I've embarked on quite a journey doing youth pastor work, and I actually opened up my own athletic shoe company. I manufactured shoes. Yeah, so I've always lived in this tension of ministry and entrepreneurial things, and so Petra allows for me to do both, kind of in a roundabout way. So Petra Cares, we exist to help kids that are aging out of foster care and homeless, at-risk youth. We believe that everybody's life is valuable, and they have incredible promise, but it needs to be pulled out. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we have embarked on. And so we teach them a skill. We teach them how to be valuable in the marketplace. Yeah. There's a lot of organizations out there that do housing, and we need all of them. We think we're just one spoke in the wheel that all these kids need every one of us, right? And so we feel hyper focused on teaching them a skill and then helping them, placing them in jobs. A rewarding career. It's not just a job. And so Petra Cares started as part of basically it's the charitable arm of Petra Automotive Products. Mm-hmm. Which is an oil company based in Cypress, Texas. And the owner of the company is just a very generous man, and he wants to give back. And we had really no plan to do this. Really? We were going to build an orphanage somewhere when we were putting Petra Cares together, and we were going to do a food pantry and then, some sort of single mom program. And we heard from a man named Judge Andell, who was the family court judge here, and he really kind of whipped us into shape. And he said, listen, there's no shortage of need. You can find, you look in any direction, you'll find need. But he said, let me tell you about a part of society that really flies under the radar that not many people are doing much about. And he began to tell us about kids aging out of foster care, and our jaws just dropped. And subsequently, every time I've brought it up to people, and they've all said the same thing, wow, I had no idea. That's really been the overwhelming response. I had no idea. Neither did we. So that day, after hearing from Judge Andel, we kind of put all our chips in the middle of the table and said, you know what, we're going to attack this, and we're going to help change young people's lives one at a time. And so we have an incredible program that's with a proven track record now. And we've seen kids come in that just, they can't even look you in the eye. They just look down, and I'm interviewing them. Hey, why do you want to be an auto technician? And well, I like working with my hands, and but by the time they finish our program, they've got so much confidence, and it's an incredible thing to see them excelling. Yeah. So we're excited about that. Yeah. I could talk about this for hours, so I'm going to let you keep going. Yeah.
Well, what drew you specifically? And you talked a little bit about why Petra Cares, the conversation with Judge Andel and just seeing the need. But what changed in your heart, or what really connected with you and saying, I want to get behind this. I want to be a part of this.
It was really a collective thing. Me personally, I grew up in a pastor's home. My mom and dad always brought people in that needed help. I just remember, whether it's an uncle or an aunt that needed help, we always, thank God we had enough space in the home, to accommodate outside of our family. And one time my dad brought a bum in that was on, he was homeless. He was he was a Navy fighter. He was a pilot, and he was so bad. He was just the worst bum you could ever see in LA in the 80s. And he brought him in with my uncle, and they spent probably 3 or 4 hours grooming this man. And my mom and my aunt, they set the table for this guy who had been homeless for 10 years. He lost everything. He took to the bottle after a divorce, and we got to know this man, and we housed him for 6 months before he went back we got him rehabilitated and went back to the Veterans Hospital. And so that's always been instilled in me. We have this, then my mom started doing toys drives, and out of the trunk of her car from church, and we would just feed thousands of people on Thanksgiving. So generosity and helping the poor and the underserved is something that's been embedded in me for since I was a kid. And I'm so grateful to be a part of a program and a company that shares that same vision. And so it we need more of that in the business world. You know?
Share with me a little bit about the kind of the day-to-day at Petra Cares, and what does the program look like? So kids get connected through various avenues, I guess, and then what happens? Where do you get those referrals, and then where do they go, and how does that work?
Yeah, so when we started, we had no idea. We knew we wanted to help, but nobody knew who we were. Yeah. And so here I am.
Takes some time.
It's just me, right, at the time, and I'm just calling everybody. I'm calling CPS, DFPS, all the acronyms that I don't know about. Now I know them, but just wanting to, just knock on the door and tell them who we are. So I discovered what a supervised independent living home was. And so we were able to meet with some of those owners and some nonprofit works like Angel Reach and Hope's Path and all these things. And before you know it, we start gaining some traction. And so we started our course in June of last year of 2023 with 12 young guys. And only 4 graduated, but today all 4 are still working.
Okay,
which is
That's
phenomenal.
Huge.
It's phenomenal.
That's huge.
I'm telling you, it's incredible when Lone Star comes and says, "How are you guys getting all these kids to complete this course? It's 7 weeks. It's it's tense. The book is about that thick." So, getting back to your original question. It's a 7-week course. We built a partnership with Lone Star College. A professor comes from Lone Star onto our property every day for the duration of the class, from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And we are literally a satellite campus. The Petra Automotive Products is a satellite campus of Lone Star College. And we offer the course of Intro to Automotive Technology, where these young people will learn, multi-point inspection. They'll learn how to do all the flush, change all the fluids and lubricants in the car. They'll learn how to rotate tires, balance the tires, change the brakes, do all of that. I mean, they'll get a certificate at the end of the 7 weeks, certificate of completion. They can take that and get a job in any type of lube place or any type of dealership, because the dealer world, there's a 51,000 deficit in technicians. They're retiring every year, and they don't have enough people in the funnel to keep the job, keep up with the demand. So people are looking at our program. These are kind of it's not on campus, but it's a full-on Lone Star class. And we tell these young guys, did you ever think 6 months ago you'd be taking a college course? I mean, it's a full-on college course. So they learn the history of the automotive industry. They learn shop safety. They'll learn their way around a shop. They'll learn all the flush and balancing tires and all that I said. And then they'll actually get a car to start from nothing. It's really cool. So these kids, their confidence is slowly starting to build. And by the time they graduate, man, they think they can conquer the world. They got the tiger by the tail, and they're ready to roll. So we have some incredible success stories too.
And the youth have to be out of the system at that point, or at least over at the age of 18, or do they have to be 17?
So the state tuition waiver will cover the tuition.
So they can still be in extended care.
They can be in extended care.
Okay.
17, we've taken them 17 up to 17 to 24.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So
very cool.
Yeah.
What have you learned so far in working with this population? I assumed it's a learning curve. Maybe a little bit of a learning curve.
How much time do we have? I mean, gosh, I've learned everything. I knew nothing. We thought that, foster. There's a family that wants a kid. There's a kid that needs a family. You go in to apply to this program, and then everybody lives happily ever after. And then we found out that that's not the case. And most of the kids don't ever get that opportunity to be placed in a home. You know more than I do, but it's those kids that are dealing with trauma. They're dealing with finding their place in this world. It's so hard. That's what I learned. I knew young people were hard-headed just because you're young, and we're all hard-headed at some point. I don't know about Amber. She looks like an angel, but
talk to my mom.
You add on the trauma that the rejection and all that stuff that we know about. Most of your audience will know, but then you have to get them somehow to harness their energy into completing something. It's very difficult to do. The hardest thing is dealing with the background of these kids. It's very difficult, when you've been in 10 different homes and 5 different schools, and you don't know who you are. And so we do our best to tell them every day that we see them. I mean, we love that. We tell them, everybody asks us why we do it. And we tell them, because we love you. We're not ashamed, because we care about you, because they're like, why are you picking us up? One of the things that I think sets our program apart is we have been just adamant about removing obstacles that would stand in the way of them completing the course. They don't have a car? Okay, well, we're going to figure out transportation. That's mind-blowing. That to people, people are like, man, that's tough. It's difficult. So we offer a stipend. We pay them $150 a week to come and learn. their eyes start to open up. Wow, that's incredible. We feed them every day. Every day we feed them lunch. We have an incredible partnership with a church across the street that just on their own volition came and said, hey, can we participate? Can we enter into their world? So at lunchtime, they've got people from the congregation just sitting down with these kids, and nobody ever wants to do that with them, but they do. And they've gotten to know some of the people from the church. And you know what? 3 people started going to church. Three of our students went to church. And those are the things that happen between, the margins, that we just love. Mm-hmm. And it's, it's having all of these kids, really focused on graduating. We offer them a tool chest that's worth just under $2,000, and they're just blown away. And they're like, "Why do you do this for us?" They don't know how to take it. Yeah. They've never had that happen.
Mm-hmm. It's a worth thing.
Yeah,
it gives them a sense of worth.
Yeah, and we just say, because we love you. We love you. That's it. And it's happening. Our first class we had 12, Amber, and we ended with 4 graduating, and then our second class we started with 11 and graduated 7. Our third class, we started with 10 and graduated 8.
Nice. What do you feel like was the difference between what changed from the first class until the fourth?
That's a great question. We hired a teacher's assistant to come in and really bolster what was going on. Some of the logistics that we had to find, that we had to really work around were, we have one bay with a car. So when the professor's teaching, you've got, 10 other kids or 12 other kids out there, depending on how many, or 8 other kids. And, they can get distracted. And so we have an assistant that is there to kind of oversee, and that has really made a big difference. So we've baked that into the program now. We've got, another full-time person on staff. And then the vetting process, unfortunately, had to get a little tighter. Yeah. My proclivity is to let everybody in. Everybody's great. Everybody's wonderful.
Everyone's the right fit at that time.
100%. We have a saying, Petra Cares is for every kid, but not every kid is for Petra Cares at that time. Yeah. Some of them just aren't ready to really some of them don't really understand what's down the road for them. It's staring them right down the eyeballs. Some of them don't understand that, and they get distracted. But we're in our vetting process. We're getting a lot better at identifying the people that we think are that really have a grasp on what's ahead, and really want to turn that page in their life of, just kind of running free and wild and doing whatever they want to do, and really are saying to themselves, I need to figure out something in my future. So.
Yeah. You mentioned transportation being a challenge. What other challenges have you guys noticed that you've been able to step into, or other barriers that some of the kids are facing, whether you've been able to step into or not? What are the challenges that you've seen?
Yeah, like we touched on a little earlier, the trauma-based, it helps so much to be informed about that. And we see everything through a different lens now. Mm-hmm. Housing. We had one kid that was trying to study. He was doing a really good job, but he was turning 18 and he was going to be on the streets in 2 weeks. So we're trying to do everything we can to get this kid to not be on the street. So I'm calling friends at Hay Center, at Sunrise Lofts. I'm calling friends at Angel Reach and Hope's Path, and and I just said to myself, can you imagine having no mom, no dad, no brothers, no sisters, no uncles, no nothing, and you don't know, you're 17 years old and you don't know where you're going to live, and then we're telling you, dude, you got to learn this skill, learn this trade. Yeah, it's hard, Amber. Mm-hmm. It is hard, and so being able to really put yourself and empathize with these students, man, these young people, that's really, really what it is. It's the Bible calls it, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but it's James 1, it's true religion is to look after the widows and the orphans. And when you do that, man, God just moves very quickly. And we called Angel Reach, and they stepped into action. Today, that kid is doing really well. He's got a house. He's living. I mean, his whole life has changed, and it's because of all of us.
It's the coordination of all of that.
It's the river. It's knowing where we are on the river and being able to access that. And so we're just ecstatic about that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think pretty much every podcast episode, if someone is listening, if you've listened to another one, you will hear the same thing over and over again, that our hope is to bring an awareness of what is happening along the river for people who are doing the work and people who are just trying to find a space or a place to serve. Because, you can do this lane, right? You can educate them in this one specific area, but the same kids are going to have issues with housing, or they're going to have issues with education, and being able to find those people that you can link arms with and say, I've got this, can you take on this, so that we can work together and find stability for this youth, and then change that generation or change generations in the future for that life. And it is possible.
Absolutely. The other thing is, literacy. Some of these kids are they're so far behind. Typically they're 2 years behind their peers academically. That's been the challenge. And so that's another thing. Just if anybody out there is listening, CPS, God bless them, they offer college, right? But a lot of our kids won't go to college, and that's why even the educators at Lone Star love what we're doing. They're fully behind what we're doing. It's 7 weeks. We tell them, hey, it's 35 days, man. You can do anything for 35 days. Yeah. Right? 5 days a week for 7 weeks. You can do it for 35 days. Condense everything down. Break it down. That's such a truism in life. You think, oh man, I'll never be able to write a book. Well, if you break it down and say, well, I might be able to write a paragraph in a month. I might be able to write a page in a week, you know. I can write a sentence in an hour. So that's what we're really doing for these kids. And that is magic. I'm telling you, it's a game changer that we're able to do something in 7 weeks, get them, we have baked into the program a day where we do a field trip to Lone Star. And they just roll out the red carpet for these guys. And they give them a tour and show them all the different options that they have. And so Petra Cares is just a hook that gets them in it. And so we have one kid that's in Livingston named Richard. He was our first to graduate our program. We placed him in a great, rewarding career, and then he enrolls for night school at Lone Star to further his education. Oh my God, it's life-changing. Life-changing stuff. You mentioned kind of shrinking the problem down, and I think you guys are doing the exact same thing. You're saying we can't necessarily fix the circumstances for 3,000 kids in foster care, or even the 400 or 200, that are going to age out every year. But for these 12, we might be able to, or for these 11, we can do our best. And for the 4 who graduated in our first cohort, that we can do, and that does make a difference. I think if we all had that same type of mindset of what can we do and actually step into it, we'd be in a better spot. Oh gosh, yes.
What are some stories of hope and healing that you've seen additional? You've mentioned some, but the tendency,
I don't want to sound like I'm trying to emote, to be fantastical, but we have some horror stories. I mean, horror stories, and there's no need to get too deep into it. But we had a kid. I won't say exactly what happened, but he was assaulted by his mother. In a very not in a sexual way, but a physical attack. And he was in the hospital, and that all comes out in my interview, and he's there, and he was one of the lucky ones that got placed in a family, and the family is just great. They're great people, and this kid that gave him a chance. And so they reached out to me and said, hey, we heard about your program. We'd love, for you to take, this young man. And he became one of the leaders in the class. The first day it was hard to look up, but at the end, he had so much confidence. And I wish I could show all your listeners, and viewers, what this kid, because I went to go visit him. He's working, at a very great dealership in North Houston. And, he's just loving life, and he has an incredibly bright future. There's another kid that's working at a big Fred Haas dealership, and when the general manager says, "Brian, send me more of these guys," well, this guy is just knocking it out of the park. They don't realize, it's getting these kids to realize that, hey, if you become a master mechanic, you could make $250,000 a year. Right. You have a shot. You might not be a poet, or you might not be an artist. You might not be an NBA basketball player, but you can make a really great living if you put your head down, put your hands to the plow, and don't look back and keep going. We tell them that the dirt, the gold is under the dirt, man. You got to dig. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and don't worry about all these distractions. They have tons of distractions. And it's all at their fingertips, and we encourage them, we motivate them every day, motivate. Yeah. And then they make it. Some of them don't. Most of them do now. We're at 80% now. So
yeah. What do you think is also kind of part of that secret sauce of what do they need in order to be successful in this? What's the most helpful for them?
Yeah, they need a dose of reality in a loving way. They need a dose of reality, because sadly, some of these kids that have grown up in the system have learned how to manipulate the system. Right. And, that's I'm not speaking ill of anything, but that's just the human nature. You're going to.
Well, the system is your parent.
Exactly.
Your parent's going, that's what kids do.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's just
we've all done.
Yeah, exactly. So, they need that. They need positive reinforcement. They need consistent affirmation, positive reinforcement. They need a dose of reality, and we're very upfront, and we don't mean to be mean, but we tell them, listen, this isn't a place for you to come and take a nap. This isn't a counseling center. Although we all need counseling, it's not here in these 35 days. We got 35 days to make you employable and create value in the marketplace. That's what we're trying to do, because that's what you need. As much as housing, as much as food, you need a way to sustain yourself. So Petra Cares, we like to say, we don't just teach them how to fish. We buy them the pole. Yeah. We buy the tackle. We drive them to the pond. All they have to do is cast the net. I mean, cast the line. Yeah. Yeah. So, that's how we like to look at it.
That's good. How can people in the community engage with Petra Cares? What's a good way to either refer or just engage with you? What are your names?
The best way is our website, petracares.org, www.petra-cares.org. I get all the correspondence, or one of our program directors will get that. And so we're running 4 classes this year in the year of 2024. The first one starts in January 22nd. Then we'll do another one in March, and then we'll reconvene again in the fall. We'll do 2 more in the fall. But the exciting thing is we're going to add a course that would be more inclusive for young ladies. Okay. And so that's a really cool thing. Be on the lookout for that. Yeah. We'll have whether it's doing something in the nursing field, we're still working that out. Okay. But we definitely want to do something. Or it could be doing the, if you go to any dealership, there's a lot of women that work, in finance or, behind the cash register or bookkeeping something along those lines that would be more enticing to draw young ladies, because they need it just as much as the boys. We have a couple board members from the Hay Center on our Petra Cares advisory board, and he said, man, a lot of they just built this massive space with Camden, 89 bed apartment complex. I think we were at the grand opening, and most of the applications are women. Like, I think 75%. our girls. Yeah. So we need to reach them, figure out a way to do that. And then we Los Angeles, I know you don't like the teams, but their kids need help. They, a big reputable car dealership. Over the Christmas holiday, I flew out there and met with them, and they are adamant about getting Petra Cares in Los Angeles. Galveston is adamant about getting Petra Cares in Galveston. So we're going to expand. We think that anywhere there's a problem with kids aging out of the system, a place where Petra has distribution, a place where there's, a local college that can partner. If a Venn diagram existed for this, we can put a Petra Cares right in the middle, and there's no reason why we can't do it all across the country.
Yeah.
So that's what the future kind of looks like for us, hopefully.
That's awesome. It's such a great program, and it's, we're so excited to know about you. We're trying to coordinate more resources and get the word out a little bit more because, if you don't know that these exist, the kids can't get there. And the caseworkers don't know that they exist, or the supervised independent living facilities don't know. And so part of our role is just trying to get the word out and help people to connect with you. So we are very happy to do it and happy to celebrate with you as those kids graduate. So at the end of every episode, we do the last 5.
The fun part?
The fun part, right.
Well, that was fun to me.
That was very fun. This is also fun. So we do like last 5 questions that are just a little bit more geared towards who you are personally. The first one, what is a book, or you could say a movie, we were talking about this earlier, that has significantly impacted you?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, let's go with the book. The book that has significantly impacted me, and I want everybody to read it. It's called Tattoos on the Heart, and it's a book by Father Greg Boyle, who was the priest in the worst gang-infested part of Los Angeles, East Los Angeles, and he created Homeboy Industries. If you're ever in the LAX airport in Terminal 4, you'll see Homeboy Industries Cafe, and so he rehabilitates gang members that nobody wants, the guys that just, had the worst background, most violent criminals, and they want to change, and nobody wants to give them a chance. And the story is about Father Boyle. It's just an highly impactful. You'll cry. You'll say, wow, what am I doing to help, the least of these, and it's just an incredible book. I highly recommend it. Tattoos on the Heart by Greg Boyle.
Okay.
Yeah, really
Sounds good. What's the most unusual, since we're talking about jobs, what's the most unusual job you've ever had?
I have a good one.
You've had a lot of different jobs.
So my dad was a pastor of, he still is a senior pastor for 47 years. But we used to have a guy that owned a mortuary.
This is going to get interesting.
Yeah, and so when I was, in the summertime, man, I would work in a mortuary, and the stories we have, oh my gosh, crazy. So in college, I would do that in the summer, and I would be, I would do the job of what you would call in the industry, it's first call. So when somebody's close to death, right, the family will call and make arrangements with the funeral home, right. And so when that time would come, when their loved one would pass, I would be the guy to go pick them up. Yeah, no. Crazy. I mean, I have stories, people that have walked in LA that are A-list celebrities that did some crazy stuff because they're part of, some ritual. Yeah, that's another podcast. But that's definitely my most unique job.
Okay, a little easier one.
Yeah,
dogs or cats?
Oh, dogs. 100%.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Morning person or night owl?
I'm both, actually. I probably get 5 hours of sleep a night. Up pretty early. Well, maybe 6. If I'm in bed by 11, I'm up. 5, 6, 7, somewhere around there.
I say me too. I'm actually the opposite of that, I think. I'm neither, because I will fall asleep. Early? I don't go to bed early, but I'm more likely to stay up, and I don't like getting up super early. I'm just not prone to one or the other, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, last one. What is since you work with so many youth and young adults, what is your favorite or maybe the most perplexing slang word or phrase that you have encountered since working with youth? Have you picked up any? Do you use them in conversation?
No, I don't, because I found out one of them is a bad Riz. That's a bad connotation. I'm like, I had no idea. It just sounded fun. I was like, Riz. Okay. I guess that's a bad, I guess it means something bad. I had no idea. My nephew told me that. Like, oh, Brian, don't say that.
You're not supposed to say that.
You're not supposed to say that.
Make you feel really old.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think no cap. That's funny. That's one that all the young people say these days. Like, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. No
and
cap.
they can't really define it. That's the thing for me is like, but it's kind of like this and it's kind of like that. Yeah. It's like, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a funny thing to say.
Yeah. But go on our website. We have some incredible videos. You'll see them. They're really cool. They're really inspiring.
Yeah. We'll tag some of those in the show notes for sure.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for everything, for stepping in and having the courage to step into this space and to tackle it head on. So we're grateful for the conversation and for what you do every day.
Thank you, Amber, for having me.
To those listening, we hope these conversations have inspired you to find your place along the river. And we welcome you to join us in bringing hope and renewal to the city of Houston. If you'd like more information on how to get involved, please visit riversideproject.org and submit a contact form. We'll see you next time.